Well, here we are with the warm-up answers. I've got $4.50 for letter A because I did 6 times 7 is $4.20, or 6 times 70, and then 6 times 5 cents is 30 cents. So $4.20 plus 30 cents. This, we just move the decimal point twice, and we're going smaller, so it goes to the left, so 0.045. This one you can just reduce or realize that 15 divided by 5 is 3. So something divided by 6 is 3. That would be 18. All right, convert that. There are 100 centimeters in a meter, so we move the decimal to the left twice. Okay, divide by 100. This one is 1,000 minus 400, 600. And then this one, 200 divided by 10 is 20. 20 times 9 is 180. And we are going to just jump right into the lesson. The lesson is talking about something called the order of operations. And you'll hear this acronym often. It's PEMDAS. And it stands for, or a way to remember it would be like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And it's not a perfect system. There's some issues with it. In fact, people think always multiplication. Oh, sorry. Let me tell you what that means. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, adding, and subtracting. The problem with this is and this tells us the order that you do things. So here we have an expression of numbers here that we would simplify by following the operations that are listed. Now, but we do want to do them in the proper order. So when I'm doing multiplication and division, it's less important that you do all the multiplication first before the division. These are almost equal. So this acronym can also kind of look like this. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, and division are on equal playing grounds. It means we do whichever comes first from left to right, because you read from left to right. If multiplication shows up first, you do it first. If division shows up in front of multiplication, then you do division first. Same with adding and subtracting. You go in order from left to right. But we do multiplication and division before we do any adding and subtracting. So let's go ahead and jump into an example and see what I'm talking about. Okay, so we parentheses, I don't see any exponents, so we're going to go right into multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. Well, from left to right, I see that I'm going to deal with this and then this. Okay, so what I like to do is I kind of end up doing these like a funnel. They should kind of funnel down to a final answer by doing one operation at a time and just leaving the ones that didn't get to play during this first row. So 2 doesn't do anything. Plus, we're going to do 4 times 3. Okay, minus, and then we can do the 4 divided by 2. So we had 5 numbers, now we're down to 3. So it kind of funnels down. So now we've got just adding and subtracting, so we go from left to right. 2 plus 12 is 14. Minus 2, and so the final answer is 12. So it's a nice triangle. Here we've got, there aren't any parentheses, but when you have a fraction like this, there are like invisible parentheses on the top and bottom. This is a symbol of inclusion, meaning this is all one chunk first, then we deal with this. And then they get to combine. So, I'm not doing this one like a funnel because it's a fraction. So I'm just going to do it over. So we're going to just take the top and simplify the top. All right, there is an exponent, so I'm going to deal with that first. And that would be 9 plus 3 times 5. Or we could just say, yeah, I'll do it just to get used to the pattern, over 2. Now we do the 3 times 5, so we have 9 plus 15 over 2. Now we can do 9 plus 15, which is 24 over 2, which is 12. example 3 is different. Now we're going to totally switch gears. We're going to see stuff where it says evaluate A plus A times B. If A is 3 and B is 4. Now a lot of you are going to want to do this in your head. You're going to go, okay, well then if that's 3 and that's, I'm going to 3 times 4. No, you can't do it that way. Even if you can get the right answer, these, with simple ones, you have to get in the habit of doing this. Wherever you have a variable or a letter, you rewrite this with an empty set of parentheses representing each variable. Okay, so like this was my A, this was A, and this is B. So I just rewrote the line with empty parentheses. You must do this, okay? These are going to get way more complicated next year, and you need to be in the habit of doing empty parentheses. Then replacing the variables with the values that we were given. So A gets a 3, here's another 3, and a 4. So now we have 3 plus 3 times 4. Order of operations say we do this first. So now we get 3 plus 12, because 3 times 4 is 12. And then 3 plus 12 is 15, and there's our final answer. Same with this. Again, empty parentheses where you see a variable. So it's going to look like this. Just like that. Okay? Don't try to do anything differently. In this case, I'm asking you to do it exactly the way I do. Now we're going to fill in the values, what we know. X is 9, Y is 2/3, so we get to do fractions, yay. And then 9, okay. So let's go ahead from left to right and also look for multiplication and division, or parentheses, but these parentheses are really just to separate them out. These parentheses mean 9 times 2 times, or 9 times 2/3. That's the same as 9 over 1 times 2/3, right? So 3 goes in, we're going to cross cancel. And now that simplifies to 6. And then minus 9 divided by 2. Well, we could just write 9/2 or 4 1/2. The book did one way, so I'm going to do the other way. I'm going to do it like this. And then to do that subtraction, that's the same as 12/2 minus 9/2. See how I did that? 6 equals, sorry, I'm just reminding you how you rename a fraction. 6 over 1 equals 12/2. So that's where I got that. Okay, and that simplifies to 3/2, which is 1 1/2. Okay, the book did it slightly different. They did 6 minus 4 1/2, which is 1 1/2. Okay, that way was allowed too. Now you've got the practice, so see if you can do these and get the correct answers. Make sure you use your parentheses down here in the problems where they ask you to evaluate. And begin. So I see, you can even underline it, I see multiplication and division that I'm going to want to tackle first. So I'm going to have 5 plus 25 minus 1. That might trick people. And that is 30 minus 1, and that's 29. There are a lot of people make mistakes on these, so it might take a while to get used to it. Now I look here and I see this and this. Uh-oh, do we do 6 times 2 first, or 2 divided by 4? Okay, remember from left to right we go, when it's a tie between multiplication and division, you start with the one that's on the left. So I'm going to write 20, just rewrite what we had up there, minus 6 times 2, which is 12, divided by 4. So now I'm going to deal with this, and I get a 3. So we got 24 minus 8 minus 3. Okay, well that's the same as 24 minus 11, or 24 minus 8. which is 16, and 16 minus 3 is 13. Okay. This one, my eye is drawn there, and then it's drawn there, so I'm going to do that first. 50 minus 40 plus 2. And 50 minus 40 is 10 plus 2. There we go. Okay, this one, 2 cubed is 8. 3 squared is 9. There we go. So we dealt with all those in the right order. Over 3. 8 plus 9 plus 10 is 27 thirds, which is 9. Alright, now we're going to evaluate. Put those empty parentheses where those letters were. Don't do it too small because it's going to be hard to fit what you need to. Alright, so this is a 5 here, and then a 3, a 3, and a 4. So it looks like we multiply this, and then multiply this, and then do a subtraction. So 15 minus 12 is 3. Alright. This is going to come up a lot in algebra, so I would say this is finally something that is getting a little more meaty. So parentheses, and then plug in. That's what we call it too. It's like plugging something in. Plugging the letters into the empty equation. Okay, so that's 6 times 4 plus 6 divided by 2, which is nice and simple. Okay. And now we got some fractions. Yay, right? Alright, so they were pretty nice to us. We go to multiplication first, and I see that these can cross cancel. So that's really 2/3 minus 1/2. Okay, so if we want to give those the same denominator, it's 4/6 minus 3/6. And there's our final answer. Super fun. I enjoy these quite a bit.